No idea the condition that we're in, the psychoneurosis that we suffer. We suffer terrible, terrible blight. We don't know who we are. We use European names, and we just are comfortable with our condition. We really don't know who we are. We have no idea. We're captive. And we're absolutely comfortable with this situation.
Like I said, you go to the history of European civilizations. 250 years is how long they last before they implode, because of their greed, because of their violence, because of an inability to let others be, including themselves. If they didn't have brown and black people to hate, they would hate themselves.
Heavy, I'm a walking dead man is what they call me when I come. I hit the loot juice and pulls up in the deuce. Heavy, I'm a walking dead man is what they call me when I come. I hit the loot juice and pulls up in the deuce. I hit the
my bitches. You saying you can't control your bitches? What? You got to have vision.
limousine, and every time I'm seen, I got to be clean.
Nigga get mad. Say, motherfucker, what you mean you ain't gonna let me in this funky joint? Much money I done spent in here, nigga. I knew your mama when she was hoeing. Huh, baby. Shit, bet I do it over time. Say that, nigga. Shit. Bet the ball. Off time. Shit, boy, I'm trying to make me some money. Boy, I'm hungry as a hog need. Slop Jesus. Shit, gotta be a Jesus, cause too many black folks.
It's going down like this, motherfucker.
For what he has, he says that the only way that we can solve our problem is to unite together among ourselves, among our own kind, clean ourselves up, rid ourselves of the evils that we've become addicted to here in this society. And
Yes, he destroy black boys. If you destroy him as a boy, he'll never become a man.
Say anyway, but I will. The way quantum entanglement works is that you can take two particles, quantum entangle them, and then take those two particles and move them at any distance in the cosmos. And let's just say, for example, if you quantum entangle two electrons and you have them spinning in the same direction, and then you take one of those electrons and you shoot that thing out 100,000 light years from the original. If you then rotate the spin on the one electron, if you modify it so that its spin changes, the quantum entangled electron at any distance will simultaneously in no time switch its rotation also, because they're quantum entangled. So these communication systems are taking advantage of this aspect of quantum mechanics that most people can't wrap their heads around, and this is what they're utilizing. It's just the new level of science that affords us the ability to communicate at any distance instantaneously.
Can you?
I mean, TikTok. A lot of the white content creators on TikTok get all of their dances from the black content creators.
Physical and mental torture. But that's all right, because we said even before this happened, and we're going to say it after this, and after I'm locked up, and after everybody's locked up, that you can jail revolutionaries, but you can't jail a revolution. Right. You might run a liberator like Aaron Cleave out the country, but you can't run liberation out the country. You might murder a freedom fighter like Bobby Hutton, but you can't murder freedom fighting. And if you do, the party that they can do anything they want to us. We might not be back. I might be in jail. I might be anywhere. But when I leave, you can remember I said with the last words on my lips that I am a revolutionary.
Damn white boys out there. Most of them is psychopaths and all that. They'll kill your mama's mama, and you.
Decent white folks that still don't know they're racist.
What the hell you want here, hunky? You got to pray to God and tell God your rent due. Any God that didn't know your rent was due ain't God.
Some people, they feel like you almost have to sell your soul to get fame, or is it just hard work, or You know, is it luck? Is it consequence? Is it?
No, most of us in sold our soul. We just called it something else.
Greetings. This is Big Pontiac, and welcome to the Chocolate Mountain Show. I am the holder of the infinite sacred ball game that was created by the Hero Twins, and I am that one and only Galactic Daddy-O, welcoming each and every one of you to my galactic patio that reaches from Minnesota to the universe. Well, I guess that's my time to come on in, say what's happening to everybody. And thank you for coming on this frigid. Well, it says 29 degrees here, so that ain't so frigid, but it's frigid enough. And I see all Biz, thank you for coming.
You can't get too close to Michael, it's a foul.
And I see El Dragon, Amaroon Khan, and the Calm. Thank you for coming.
You can't get too close to Michael, it's a foul.
And anybody else that's out there or comes in.
You can't get too close to Michael, it's a foul.
They used to, my brother, my head something fierce when you did this. Doesn't anymore, but now my inner ears thump with the vibrations. Okay, maybe it cleared some of that calcification, because that's what happens. It's like a lot of the foods we eat and a lot of the air we breathe, the water we drink. I mean, it's all meant to calcify your third eye. I mean, like now, woke means liberal. But it didn't mean that. It's like waking up from the veil is what woke used to mean, Now I guess it's like when I got offline, or if I come online, I mean, whatever they call it now, I was lucky it happened to me when I was 19 or 20, when my third eye was open. But I've said before, I think Jimi Hendrix music helped that. I think it it broke that decalcification. Pretty sure it did. Listening to it as a young man, and listening to it as a young man on record, not really digital, almost exclusively for the first 25 years at least. I mean, it's very recently when I just recently bought, probably 20 years. Yeah. So it's good 30 years. Good 30 years of listening to Jimi Hendrix on record. When my records melted in one of my storages. So that's how it goes. But thank you guys for coming. If you didn't know, I am Big Pontiac, and this is the Chocolate Mountain Show. And I welcome, whoever sees this when you see this. Thank you for coming. Wednesdays, it's going to be funny. It's like the picks are getting shorter and shorter for the weeks, so have to come up with something other than pick games Wednesday, and just still though I want to come on 2-3 times a week at least, come and keep practicing. And then my voice is stronger and stronger. I noticed that my voice is kind of coming back, energy's kind of coming back a little bit. I'm gonna try to start playing pickleball together. Got a good walk in today, got my heart rate up and stuff, so that was good. And so yeah, it was a beautiful day. Cold but beautiful day. And so I'm gonna get right to my picks to get that part of the show over. It's not a lot to do. And starting with, am I in Saturday's games? Because I messed this up. Yeah, Saturday games. I can pull it back up. I can pull this right back up. Yeah, so Saturday's game is at 3:30 my time, 4:30 Eastern. You got the you got the Texans and the Chiefs. And then at 7 o'clock that night, you got the Commanders and the Lions. Okay, so that's Saturday's games. And then Sunday's games is going to be the Rams versus the Eagles at 2 o'clock my time, 3 o'clock Eastern. And then we got that night, we got the Ravens and the Bills at 6:30. Now, one thing I was wondering, I've heard it was bad weather in Philadelphia. Anybody got any more news on that? That's what I heard, that they're looking for extremely bad weather in Philadelphia, which should hurt the Rams more than the Eagles, since the Eagles played a couple cold winter games. So, but anybody know anything about that? Is that, you guys heard that it's supposed to be bad weather in Philadelphia? So, hey, Dr. Sinister, thank you for joining.
You can't get too close to Michael, it's a foul.
Let me look this up. Let's look it up. All right, with this weekend's weather in Philadelphia. Oh. Oh, gosh. Damn, I am a no spelling motherfucker. Okay. Saturday, well, see, it's some bullshit. Okay, I'm glad I checked this. Oh, Saturday is supposed to be a high of 43, but rain and snow starting at around 11 a.m. So yeah, it's fair temperatures up there. But what they're predicting, like today 31, tomorrow 41, or Thursday was 41, Friday 31 Friday was their coolest day. But it looks like Saturday they're going to have at 43, that's going to be rain. Right? They play that's going to be, they play Sunday. That's right. They play Sunday. And so Sunday, let's see. Let's turn to Sunday. Oh yeah, they're going to get snow. They're going to get snow all day. They're going to get snow. It's going to snow up there from 10 a.m. The game's at 2. And yeah, they got predicted snow all day. Well, from 10 in the morning until 8 p.m. at night, that's a bunch of snowing. So in 35 degrees, it ain't going to be rain, it is snow. So the precipitation chance is 40%, humidity is 68%, 10 mile an hour wind is what they're calling for. So we'll see, y'all. We'll see if that makes a difference. I think, again, it should affect the Rams more than the Eagles. And so to get right down to it, my Saturday games, I've got KC winning. And then the Lions versus Commanders. As much as I do like the Commanders, I definitely have to go with the Lions. So Saturday's game, I got KC and I got the Lions. Now, Sunday's game, the first game will be the Rams and the Eagles. Of course, you know I'm going with the Eagles. And when we go to the second game, now this second game is pretty pivotal. I mean, easily the Super Bowl contender or the Super Bowl champion could come out of this Ravens and Bills game. Looking at the script, and Pat Mahomes not really all over like he was the last couple years. His commercials ain't really all over. I could see one of these teams beating KC this year. And I'm just going to say my only upset is going to be the Ravens beating the Bills. That's going to be my only upset this weekend, is the Ravens beating the Bills. I think that's a good upset, so. And last weekend I went 7-1. And then, of course, I've got Ohio State winning the national championship this coming Monday. I don't think Notre Dame has enough firepower to back to back off the Ohio State defense. And I think I think they're going to have a hard time getting to the Ohio State quarterback. Now, I would take a page out of what was done to number 4, what was done to Jefferson. Detroit did to Jefferson, and we saw the same thing, number 4 being double teamed the whole game, Ohio State, and he didn't make a difference, but it was like everybody else made a difference. So you concentrated so hard on stopping that one player that everybody else was able to, have a pretty decent game. So I got Ohio State beating Notre Dame. But yeah, those are my picks. Those are my picks for this weekend. So we'll see. I went 7-1, 6-1, 7-1. Last weekend, the Vikings game was the only one I lost out of all the college and the pros. I won everything else. So we'll see how I do this weekend. And one of my first things to go into, the Eagles will try to win. They have really been pushing Barkley on TV. Yeah, I would say, I would agree with that part. The only thing is, the only thing we hate to see is when it's a catastrophe or something, they like to let teams win. And that was something I really should have considered with the Vikings game. I don't think, because they like to do that. They like catastrophes and rewarding the city that had the catastrophe. That's generally what they do. Now, are they going to do that again this weekend? No, they're not going to do that this weekend, I don't think. Like bad weather, could it be some fluke plays and beat Philadelphia? Yeah, it could be. It really could be. Could the Rams beat Detroit? They could. I don't see how the Detroit defense would all of a sudden just fold to them, because that's a possibility. Oh, didn't mean for that to happen. It's where it's supposed to be. Okay, I'm tripping. So that's a possibility on how they scheme the games. Whether they could, I would still say the advantage would be to the Eagles with weather. The Eagles have Barkley. And so if the Eagles had to rely on running more, I'd say the Eagles had the advantage there. Because their back number 23 got kind of beat up at the end of the last game. And I'll tell you, the other part is the injuries in the cold. That's what's remarkable. It was so many injuries in those cold weather games last week. That could play a point too. Now, in the dome games, or where it was warmer temperatures, you didn't see all the injuries. But where it was the cold weather, like the Eagles game, it made a difference. It made a difference in the cold weather. So, I mean, the players' health. This time of year, players playing outside. And do y'all remember when they held, in early February, they held the Super Bowl in New York? Do y'all remember that? It was the first cold Super Bowl, I think, ever. And they got lucky. The temperature was about 40, 50 degrees. They got lucky. They had a pretty good long range forecast, but that was bogus. I think the stadium then was fairly new, so they held the game up there, and everybody. It was like when they held it in Detroit years ago. I mean, when the Ford Field was new, you remember they held it. So that must have been 04, 02, 03, 04, somewhere in there when they held it in Detroit, when Detroit Stadium was new. And outdoor things, what are you going to do? I mean, the cool thing is they cleaned up Detroit and everything, but it was like other than gambling, clubbing, I mean, it just wasn't a lot of outdoor. Like someplace you can go golf and stuff. What? So they, I had to. Detroit was another one where they, it was a cold weather, but they was inside. They wasn't outside. So that's why that Giants game or the Giants Stadium, wherever it's called now, was a big crapshoot for them. They was lucky they didn't lose. So. It's lucky it didn't get cold on them. I saw a little bit. Let me see if I can catch this on Morbid News. Now they're talking about Belichick might end up taking the job. Belichick might end up taking the job with the Cowboys. Quitting North Carolina, which I never thought he was fit for in the first place. But that does kind of waste their time. And, it kind of wastes their time a little bit, I think, to to already start to recruit and then you leave all of a sudden. I mean, that's kind of shaky. And people you're trying to recruit, and then there's these rumors of you leaving. So I think he should have been a little more patient, and maybe he used that job to get at these other jobs. I don't know. So I hope he doesn't take that job either. The Cowboys ain't a good job. It ain't America's team anymore. All Jimmy Jones, Jerry Jones wants to have is he wants to say he has the highest paid quarterback, and he seems to be happy with that. He won his 3 Super Bowls back in his glory days when they first started. But ever since then, we've had losing season after losing season. Even, I remember Aaron Rodgers, they had him. It was 4th down and 25. Do you remember that? And Aaron Rodgers threw that bullet on the sideline to beat Dak and them. And Dak had went, 13-1, 14-1 or something like that. Dak's first or second year. Yeah. Had that bad Green Bay team beat them. So, well, when I go from sports, I go right into morbid. And again, we starting to see the entertainers. I don't know who this chick is, but she's around my age. Her name is Linda Nolan. She passed away at 65. She was part of the popular group, the Nolans. Well, maybe they'll tell us what song. It says it's profound sadness. We announce the passing of Linda, Irish pop singer. Okay, Guinness Book record holders, Times bestseller, and Mirror columnist. Okay, as a member of the Nolans, never heard of them. One of the most successful girl groups of all time, she achieved global success, becoming the first Irish act to sell over 1 million records worldwide during the world and selling over 1 million, touring the world. Records hits such as Gotta Pull Myself Together, Attention to Me, and the iconic disco, I'm in the Mood for Dancing. I don't know that one, sorry. I'm in the mood for dancing. I don't know that one. Her distinctive voice and magnetic stage presence brought joy to families around the world. Linda was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2005, was given all clear in 2011 before it turned in 2017. 20 it spread, and wow, then it went into her brain. I am so happy. Sorry to hear that. Is this her in the middle? I'm guessing this is her. I can't tell if that's her or this is her. I'm guessing this is her in the middle. The weekend was taken ambulance and admitted with pneumonia. Wow. And she went into a coma into life care. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. She passed January 15th. Okay. So I think this is her as a girl right there. So she was born in 59, I believe. Okay. All right. But what do we always say? Belichick to the Cowboys. I don't see it. Yeah, Dr. Sinister. I would hate it too. I wouldn't like that. I don't know. I don't know why he would want that job either. I don't know why anybody would want that job. You have a terrible, terrible general manager. Why would you want to put your team in that situation? Maybe y'all know this cat. He's another cat around my age. Tony Slattery. Let's see who Tony. Let's see who Tony is. I never heard of this cat. Let's see where did he drink from the cup? He's a British star. Oh, he just suffered a heart attack. His partner. Okay, a statement. Great sadness. We must announce actor Tony. He died. Was best known for appearing on Channel 4 comedy Whose Line Is It Anyway? Okay. So he was a British actor. Oh, he was in The Crying Game. Oh, he was in The Crying Game. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry, brother, that you passed. They like 65. He was in The Crying Game. You remember The Crying Game? They didn't show you, but wasn't it Forrest Whitaker was the dude in The Crying Game? Let's look at that. Who was in The Crying Game? Man. Remember that shot where he pulled off his clothes and it was, they did the shadow of the dude's meat. So that's why I was crying. Dude was like, I'm in love. Okay. It's just, I think we got this one. Yeah, we got this one already. Pretty sure we did. Okay. Yeah, I thought I had that one. Oh, Drake suing his own label for defamation over. Yeah, look, Kendrick's song should be Song of the Year. Clear and easy. There was no better, bigger song. And Drake, see, Drake is like Dracula. You know, Drake know the daylight is coming. He knows it's coming, and he knows soon as the whole world sings, 1 billion people rocking with Kendrick, it's gonna be the final nails in his coffin. So he gonna go back to Canada, and you know, Dracula's gonna go away for a little while. That's why he crying. This is just crying. This is just crying and whining. That's all that is. What is these Aqua 8s? I think this is what my son. I fucks with these. I definitely fucks with these. Aqua 8s. I don't know if PJ's around, but I fuck with these. I like 8s. I wear 8s as my winter boots. You know, I got the winterized version of these. So yeah, I might can do this. Oh, May. Okay. I'm probably gonna get these. I like this. You know me, anything with the Carolina blue, with the blue and purple. Yeah, I do like these. Okay, I can probably function with those. I got to see the black cats. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't buy a pair of them. I don't know, they just don't make shoes like they used to. They're cool looking and everything. Like I said, I could have ordered a pair, but even without seeing them, you know, I could have ordered a pair, or I saw them, but you know, not in hand. I ain't running to the store for nothing to get a pair of shoes where I can have them send them to me. But I got to see a pair today, and yeah, it's no big deal. It's no big deal. They always putting it out there like it's a big deal, and it's really no big deal. So they act like you gotta have the stuff. What was that? Was that somebody? Oh, I think the Warriors game is behind. We started watching a movie instead of the Warriors game. She give me updates, but I think we were late because a lot of times when you go to another channel, and you watching the game, it'll replay the game from where you left instead of advancing it. So I think that's what happened. Yeah, it looks like that's all the morbid news. So again, we got a few more weeks, but again, we see entertainers passing, and that's what they do. Entertainers pass during the playoffs. So we're sorry for the families that happened to. I don't know. Some of that, I don't know if they trolling me. They keep asking me some shit about Bitcoin. What is you testing my knowledge? I don't know that shit you writing me. So I don't mind saying I don't know what you mean. Yeah, so you got me stumped, buddy. Whatever that sentence you writing me. Oh, okay, gold is back up. Y'all follow. 2,700. Back up to 2,700. So it's 4, but it was 26 something. So it's almost $100 up from Friday. Just last Friday, it's already went back up from Friday. What's silver? And silver went up almost $1. Platinum was what, 930? And platinum jewelry still looks good. Still looks good. So might be alternatives. Silver always looks good. Silver though, when you get a lot of silver, it's still costing you. You get them big bars and shit of silver, they ain't cheap. So but invest your money wisely. That's my biggest thing, is invest your money wisely. Oh, but I didn't do nothing much today. Just chilled, you know. We went out to eat. We still have Red Lobster up here, and you know, brother bought Red Lobster. The food was excellent for like $28. They had steak and shrimp tail, hush puppy, salad. It was good. It was good. My wife had, what was it? Lobster pizza, flatbread pizza, and she only ate a few minutes of it. And when is this? Oh, okay. We got one more. See, if you think behind the scenes people don't get it, behind the scenes people get it too. David Dawkins Punky Brewster creator was 74. 80-90 comedy writer, producer, created Punky Brewster, co-developed Silver Spoons, died this morning, long illness. He's behind the scenes, but he still took a drink. He still took a drink of that beast water. He was born, his career classics such as The Odd Couple, Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley, Jeffersons, and Different Strokes. Writer credit was a handful of episodes on The Odd Couple with Gary Marshall, who took him under his wing to told him how to be a showrunner when Dukin worked on Happy Days and spinoff Laverne and Shirley. Over the next decade, went on to become create a slew of sitcoms of his own. He developed a comedy, Working Stiff, starring James Belushi and Michael Keaton. Co-developed Silver Spoon, which ran for 4 seasons. Another first-run syndication co-created by, let me see, the 87 Comedy Boys will be starring William. Okay. Also created the sitcom Punky Brewster, which ran only for 4 seasons. Wow. 4 seasons, 2 on NBC and 2 in syndication. It capitulated its young star to fame as her titular character became a pop icon. Okay. Pay it forward fashion, then helped mentor the next generation. He gave My Name is Earl and Raising Hope creator Craig Garcia's first writing job on a short-lived sitcom on her own. June Lee and Juicy Somerset, I remember that one. Duncan, also creator, went on to executive produce Garcia's first series of Creator, Built to Last, co-created Warren Duncan wrote episode first, Yes Dear. I don't know what that is. So, even behind the scenes people, we see them get it too. We see them get it because they take a drink. And once you take a drink, that's, you make the agreement. And, we just see how they got attacked out in Cali, and it's funny. A lot of brothers and sisters got attacked out there too. A lot of brothers and sisters lost a lot of property out there. And as it's heading, it's looking like it's going to be, I don't know, like a land grab. That's the way it feels, more like anything. I was looking for something else, but man, let me see if I can find this. Let's see if this has come up in the search. Here we go. Now, when is this? Because I came across, let me see. When is this? Nah, see, this ain't what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something newer. '23, it was something today. I don't think it was. Let's see. Did I save it? No, I didn't save it down here. I remember it though. I just wanted to show the details. Let's see. Okay, this will give you part of the idea. All right, of what's going on. And even though this is from 23, I can tell you how this is. So Mall of America can continue to fight Sears' new owners who are hoping to keep the retailers shocking $10 a year lease. Now, the Supreme Court decided that the Mall of America can challenge a lease it has with Sears. The mall gave Sears a 100-year lease on a 3-story location for just $10 a year. After Sears went bankrupt in 2018, the retailer's owners sought to sublet the store to another tenant. The U.S. Supreme Court has given the Mall of America a chance to get out of that deal that made them more than 30 years ago to lease Sears for just $10 a year. In the case, legal information says this is the implications how mall owners and bankruptcy tenants are protected. But I'll tell you this, they just went to another court today, and just went to a new court today, and the new court upheld the yeah. So they got 3 stories of the Mall of America for $10 a year and a 100-year lease, and they only use 30 years of the lease. And from what I read earlier, they can sublet without the approval to anybody without the approval of the mall, and it's still $10 a month. And they got 3 floors. Now, I think Macy's only occupies 2 floors. I don't think Macy has the 3rd floor, because the 3rd floor is up where the Comedy Court is. I think what's the chicken place? Hooters is still up there. It's they don't even, when smoking, you couldn't smoke inside anymore. It kind of killed the Mall of America. People started going back downtown into the suburbs to party. But the Mall of America used to, but they gave them such a sweet, they gave the deal, like, listen to this. The deal gave Sears a 100-year lease on a 120,000 square foot space, 3 floors, for less than $1 per month. Fast forward 20 years and the company prospects looks decidedly less bright. By 17, Sears had tumbled to $17 billion for more than $36 billion. Sears filed for bankruptcy. Its store at the Mall of America closed a year later and has remained empty since then. As part of the reorganization, it sold $5.2 billion of its assets to its former chairman hedge fund, which placed them under a company called Transform Holdco. Sears later told bankruptcy court that it wanted to transfer its lease to Transfer Holdco so another Transform subsidiary could sublet this space to a new tenant, presumably at a higher price. But they would get that. The landlords, saying the landlords have right to adequate assurance of future performance. So from I can't find the ruling today, but from what the ruling I heard today, the ruling says they lost. Sears have every right, and Sears can give it. Whoever has the rights can give it to whoever they want. Whoever they want. Yeah, I can't find anything new because it came across on my phone today, but I don't see anything new. But yeah, the Mall of America, they screwed themselves, Nobody in there, because they opened in 92, and nobody in their inner circle told them to, Sears ain't doing so great. I went in there and to buy a brand new refrigerator. And they did not have, the computers were down. I mean, the computers were down. Like we went in there 7 o'clock. We was going to buy the fridge, and, it was going to cost me $1,100, $1,200 something, fridge with water and ice. And they couldn't take my cash. They said the computers was down and they couldn't do the deal. So they said, why don't you come back, walk around and come back and we'll see if the computer's back up. Hey, walked around, came back up, wasn't working. Next day, no call, they not still up. So I was like, fuck it. By then, I went and bought another fridge somewhere else. I went and bought another fridge somewhere else, but you can't really blame me. These shoes must be coming out. My son sent me a picture of these. These must be coming out. Can't say I'm overwhelmed with these. The leather's always great, but I don't know. Are they coming out with these or something? Because my son sent me this picture. These are okay. Blah, blah, blah. Let's see. 25 version. Okay. All right. What? Aside from the original, been released, blah, blah. Air brand upcoming will be the first time shoe has been reissued with its bells and whistles. Okay. Great 5's unique. Only when are they coming out with it? Set to be released April. I don't know. I don't know if this is a must-have. I don't know. I like 5s though. I like 5s and 6s. Don't really like 3s and 4s. Okay. I don't know. For those of you who are sneakerheads, I'm kind of a sneaker junkie. I ain't a sneakerhead. I'm a sneaker junkie. I'm a shoe junkie. Before it was shoes, it was Gators. It was Gators. I think I got this one. Bill McCarthy dying at Colorado. That was definitely a Deion sacrifice for this season. He wanted, McCarthy was the last Colorado coach to win a national championship. So, But again, we always see, all these deaths during the sport. It was a teen dude who passed, and I can't find him. I found him the other day. It was a teen dude. But all these sacrifices. Oh, they got Ali's wife talking. Huh. See if they got a close up on her. Oh, here she go. I met this woman. Ali was in Kalamazoo, and I got a chance to meet with her. And I say, I only met Ali one time, but I must say that I've been around a lot of famous folks and seen both ways. And he was the most generous man with his time, I think, of anybody I've ever seen. What's interesting about it, like his son, I think his name is Malik, played AAU where I used to ref. So, the gym and people. And it was like not a lot of people really mobbed him, but like he went outside because everybody was coming up to him. And that's what I hate. It's like, man, can't even watch his son play basketball. Everybody's coming up, wanting autographs. So finally he went outside. And he shook every hand, took every picture until nobody else was there. Now, I should have let my son get his autograph, but I thought it was more important to shake his hand, look at him in the eye. But I'll say this, he had the darkest eyes of anybody I'd ever seen. Now, I don't know if that comes from getting punched, but his eyes were very dark. And that's why when they was always saying that he couldn't talk, he was talking to people. Like he talked raspily, very raspy voice, but he was talking to people. Oh, here we go. Another one. Michael Gurity, publicist and GM executive. See? You think all these people behind the scenes are safe. They aren't. They're all part of it. They drank out of the beast cup. Publicist, and he's just executive, but he lived a pretty good life. He's born at 42. What was he executive over? District manager, theaters at first, returned to MGM, transferred Culliver and MGM distribution was dissolved. He moved to American, became president. What shows? Company operating. Okay. Yeah. Okay. He was really in the background. He was owning companies and publications. Shipped to Beverly Hill-based Hanson Public Relations with clients also. Okay. So he was looks like theater chain owner and part of the company owner. But again, can't escape it. Once you take that drink, that's a person in the background. And I tell you, who is this? Let's see. I don't know. What's this? Robert, veteran known. Cheers. Some old dude. Cheers stars in Star Wars past at 79. No picture. Few doubts. He played ill-fated teacher in Slasher Cutting Class, opposite Brad Pitt, Mr. Potter, and the Schwarzenegger director, Christmas in Connecticut. Tangles with David Garrett. Carvey, I don't know. No picture of this cat, though. No picture of this cat. This cat was named Cheer Star. What was his name? Robert McRae? Cheers, numerous sitcoms, died in Hollywood. Huh. Oh, this must be a woman. I think it's a man. Okay, he must have been a gay man. Okay. Well, nothing wrong with that. Because it said his husband. And this sounds like a man's name, so. Deion Sanders says Shador and Travis Hunter never took class on campus. But yet, what's his name? Hunter is a All-American. He is a academic All-American. Yeah. So you don't have to take classes online anymore. So that's a moot point. And they're leaving anyway, Shador was what, $4 or $5 million a year? So he ain't hurting. He ain't hurting. And that's what's good. To me, that's what's great about college sports now, that more people are going to get degrees, and less people are going to be injured because of injury and taking all those hits for so long. And I'm gonna say this right now, they're gonna end up dropping. Watch, because so many people are going to come in the league a little later and not play as long. They're gonna drop the pension to entice players to come in. Watch them drop the number of years to get a lifetime pension. Because right now, to me, the best looking deal out there is to stay in college and play 6-7 years. Do you know how mature you can get in 6-7 years staying in college? Some colleges, and you get enough money now, you can buy your own crib and know you're gonna be there the next 6-7 years. Your NIL's popping your first year, you buy a crib, and know like Manning's nephew, he still, because he did not play the required 6 games in a row, he still got 4 years eligibility. And now junior college players is still going to get 4 years of eligibility. It has never been a better time for a young person to go in college and play sports. And even if you go to a small school and you just getting a little money, that is still gravy. That is still gravy. And again, the more talented your children are, the bigger deal they'll get. That's just the way America works. So now, for you dads out there dreaming, it could happen a little sooner. It could happen in college, where a child could start, taking your family out of poverty in college. That's what it's all about. And in some instances, you start making the money in high school. So, to me, it's never been a better time to be a college athlete and get the bread that they give it. So, to me, that's worth it. I heard a story today that Louis Armstrong was raised by a Jewish family. That him and his brother was homeless and he was living on the street, and one of his Jewish friends took him in and they raised him. He was homeless and they raised him. Isn't that odd? And then he becomes one of the best bugle players of all time. They said he spoke Yiddish. He could speak Yiddish. So I bet religiously he was probably still Jewish. Now, I can't say he was a Zionist because it doesn't appear so. Doesn't appear like he was a Zionist. But again, he was in the club, Get to making records and in the movies, that's part of the club. Oh, the Vikings fan is on facing tension. Vikings face tension with coach. What did they say? What did this motherfucker do after he got lost? Face tension. The Vikings have quarterback questions and they retire their secondary with a foot out the door and problems in the trenches, but their first order of business is to strike a deal with the coach. He has already left impressions of becoming the first Viking head coach to lead 13 wins. And he did only 3 years. He's proven not only excel on SXOs, he got out coached Sunday though. Or Monday, excuse me, deserves extension, but given the lackluster end to the season, that's going to hurt his bargaining power. There are questions where the organization would bend to him. There's tension between the two camps entering contract talks. Yeah, I mean, what can he say? He has no bargaining power whatsoever. So what could he really say? No bargaining power. No bargaining power at all. Question where the two sides agree on consequences of 2 games. Tailspin. No, that's big. He lost millions because of that. Beyond money, could be looking for more, saying the roster construction, better alignment with the general manager. We have what he needs, put together a team that can bring both to the playoffs and when the postseason arrives. Maintain a positive mental. Let me see. He defended. Oh yeah, they didn't block worth a fuck for him either. So. I don't know. When you lose like that, you ain't your bread. You ain't really got a lot you could say about your bread. Your bread is kind of up in the air. Yeah, you won 13 games, but you lost to 2 good teams, both them twice. Now, here's another story about Ali. See, this is another thing they do is during these times they bring up, it's almost like they need these people's energy to keep pushing shit. Like Ali's wife was just on a show. And like when you go to, you notice when you go to supermarkets and the ones that still have magazines, they had the magazines when you check out. It's like they bring these dead and these people, and it's like it's almost like necrophilia. I don't know if that's quite, but it's kind of, it's almost, it's almost like, a worship of the dead. And a lot of times is what they're trying to bring about. Like what just came out, Elvis Presley's 90th birthday or something like that. So it's almost they bring the dead, the worship of the dead. And I think necrophilia is having sex with dead people. Not that, but but I mean they bring up, it's like they want it's like they need that entity's energy for a given time. That's what it appears like. They want that energy's energy for a given time. So I don't know, y'all. Oh, I forgot to take my pills. Damn. I forgot to bring them in here and take my pills. Sorry about that. I might have to run and do that. I can play something right quick. Oh. Yeah, I can play something while I go take my pills. Let's find it. Okay, where's he at? Is it this one? Well, what's the time on it? I don't think it's this one. Let's see. Nope, it's not that one. All right, I think I'll play this one. Whoops. All right. This is, I forget his name, but this brother be chopping. Can't say I agree with everything he talks about, and he still just wears this one suit, but I need to grab my pills, so I'm gonna let him chop for a few minutes. They don't seem to mind. I'll be battling with him, but it's like the thing I have, like when they talk about Muslim now, it's funny. One of them, he was talking about America and America allowing people to marry young girls, because I think the whole time I lived in North Carolina from 79 to 85, you could marry a 12-year-old, I think was on the books. And I think they've since taken that. But I was just watching something about some Muslims where they was saying if the girls get their periods at 9, that the girls could be open to having sex with men. So I don't know, the Muslims be trying to take the holier thou and saying how America is. But some of his other points, I'll say that I can roll. I still don't know why the brother just wear the same suit in every show. Every show, it's like they must have recorded this, but every show he got on the same suit. So let's see if I'm...
These so-called
here we go.
Grooming gangs in the United Kingdom. Let's be clear, first of all. What you're talking about are British men abusing British girls in Britain. We're literally not talking about any sort of a phenomenon taking place in the Muslim world. So this very clearly has to do with your culture, not ours. It has to do with your society, not ours. It has to do with your values, not ours. You corrupt your own people, and you promote degeneracy, and you promote predation among your own people, and that's a fact. This obviously has nothing to do with our culture. To say that it has anything to do with Muslim culture it makes as much sense as saying that fish and chips is a part of Islamic culture because Muslims in the UK eat fish and chips. No. In fact, in most of our countries, the only people that you'll find doing these kinds of things are Western tourists. And of course, we all know that this is what you all used to do writ large in our lands when you were colonizing our land. So this is a Western problem. And then the apparent cover-up that they're talking about, all because they said that they were afraid that if they pursued these cases, that they'd then be accused of racism or they'd be accused of Islamophobia or what have you. Again, this is a Western problem because you don't take justice seriously. In your countries, justice takes a backseat to politics, and your politics are completely crippled by a lack of any sort of moral clarity or any sort of integrity. And I mean, let's be honest, your society will always err on the side of sexual depravity. You and I both know that your politicians have no incentive whatsoever to shine a spotlight on sexual predation because most of them are perpetrators themselves. And your own history of extreme racism, which is inarguable, your culture of bigotry, collides now with your desire to look like you're not racist and like you're not bigots. So you.
All right. I just had to run and get my meds because if I ain't on time, the meds, I got to take them at a certain time. This isn't really the one I wanted to play. It's a better one. That wasn't the one. There was another one where let me see. It's 19 minutes. Let's see if that's it. Because there's one that's real powerful. No, it's the same one. Okay, I think it was even before this one. Okay, I'm gonna play a little bit of this one because this one's pretty. He motherfucker be chopping on this one.
Your online profile has risen rather dramatically.
All right, this nugget, excuse me, I don't know what he is. I don't think he's a brother. I think he's a European Muslim. But this is some of this plays.
Dramatically. I think your following across social media has probably more than doubled over the past 10 days or so. Why do you think those excerpts gained so much traction, and how do you feel about it?
Ambivalent. I'm ambivalent about it. Anytime that I've experienced something like this in the past, any sort of degree of relatively widespread notoriety or attention online, it's led to real world consequences, real world problems. Obviously, that's what generated the whole online internet smear campaign against me in the first place. The character assassination, the slander and the lies and so on. And all of that has real life consequences. So there's a degree of unease, I'll say. But how I feel is irrelevant. I think that those videos resonated with a lot of people because it reflects the fact that there is a worldwide change underway, and not just among Muslims, and not even just among the people of the global South. People all over the world, including in the West itself, are recognizing that Western civilization is a failure. They're realizing that it is corrupt, that it is hypocritical, that it is immoral, that it is tyrannical and psychopathic. Now, most of the Muslim world and the global South has known this for a long time, and a lot of people in the lower class in the West have also known it for a long time. And certainly black people in America never didn't know it. But because the neoliberal system, the neo-imperialist system, you can say, is now treating even the Western lands as lands for conquest, lands to conquer. And now people in America and Europe are themselves feeling the subjugation that their civilization imposed all around the world. Now it's happening to them, writ large. There are millions and millions of people in the West who now want nothing to do with Western civilization anymore. They realize that it's rotten and that it's always been rotten. They realize that even the moral values and principles, so-called, that they were taught, emerged from the Enlightenment, were actually stolen from someone else. They were stolen from other cultures. They were stolen from other civilizations, particularly from the Muslims. So this civilization, Western civilization, is like an identity thief, pretending to be what it isn't. It's an imposter. It's a thug wearing the clothes of a nobleman. Or more accurately, it's a criminal dressed up like a policeman. And you've got a lot of real criminals dressed up like policemen over there. But as I said, across the global South, among the long-standing victims of the West, obviously none of this is a revelation. And it's not something new to Muslims, certainly. But there are a few things that are different now. Today, there's a sense that the West and that America is imploding. So the people in the global South and the Muslim world are seeing that their tormentor is starting to show weakness, is starting to look weak. And all he ever had over us was power. It was only his power that made people be quiet. It was only power that made everyone in the world nod their heads whenever he spoke. But now there's a glimmer of hope because they're starting to see weakness. Every crack and fracture that you see in Western society, you have to understand, from the perspective of the global South and from the perspective of the Muslim world, every crack and fracture in Western society is like a crack and a fracture in the wall of a prison cell, and you start to see daylight peeking through those cracks. And that's different. That's not something that we've seen before until now. And everyone in the world is seeing it at the same time. So there's a subsequent, as a result of that, there's a revival of confidence in the global South countries and in the Muslim world. There's less and less inclination to capitulate to the West and to try to emulate the West and to want Western approval.
I'm sorry I didn't answer questions. I'm sorry. Yeah, all biz. Yeah, Drake is definitely an industry plant. Drake was put in there. You know, he had a kiddie show on Nickelodeon where he's portrayed a gay actor, which I mean a gay character that was later in a wheelchair. But yeah, he was a creation. I mean, look at all the people's beats. Gosh, Read My Soul. I don't know if I'd have to see if he let me play, but Read My Soul. Read My Soul. Watch his stuff. Let me see if I can find him. He put out an interesting thing I watched earlier about Drake. And Drake, because he doesn't want to be buried. Everybody. Soulja Boy was the first to tell about how Drake took his beats with Soulja Boy. And nobody listened to Soulja Boy. But Soulja Boy was really one of the first to show that, Drake was taking people's beats and flows. Let me see. He talks about Drake is broken, the fighting Irish freestyle. Yeah, he was I thought you was my friend and now we ain't friends. So yeah, go over to this page and watch it. The CEO, he's suing Drake, the certified lawsuit lover. Read My Soul, that's on his. So I don't think it's a very long video. Let's see how long. I'm already a member. Why is it asking me to become a member? Oh, channel member.
Invoke emotion out of people.
Honestly, if you guys want to look in my eyes, you guys want to do something?
Whether you love him or hate him, he knows how to get the people talking. And his moves as of recently have been some of the dumbest moves I've ever seen in the entertainment industry. And I'm a Kanye fan. Last night, Drake basically pulled back his petition to set up a RICO against UMG and Spotify. And today he filed a defamation lawsuit against UMG stating that their promotion of the song Not Like Us is spreading false narratives and malicious narratives that he is a and I gotta call a spade, man. This man is not of the culture.
And you ain't black.
I am not surprised. This is what happens when you get punched in your face and you go snitch.
Now look, dun, 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 like a damn snitch. Look like you about ready to go tell on somebody right damn now.
That's how Drake is looking like right now. He is looking like top flight security of the world.
We top flight security of the world, Craig.
Drake is not of the culture because growing up, we heard all of the cautionary tales. When you grow up in Black America, you get all these different sayings and all these different cautionary tales. And the one that Drake is experiencing right now is pride cometh before the fall. We are watching a man that is too prideful and has too big of an ego to admit when he is lost.
You shot. You lost. I mean, we'd have paid you if you won, but you lost. Now take your big ass home and brush that.
Okay, that's my man. So if you want to get more, you can go to his channel. Read My Soul. He's a sneakerhead too. So I've been subscribed to him. He's been subscribed to me. So if you want to catch more of that, you can catch him. You can catch him and let him break it down. But who's planning? I mean, again, it does like all most of Hollywood. Well, you got to even look who. Like a couple of different things happened the way they created Hollywood. Is what they did is they took like Aleister Crowley and they took all the top. I don't know if magicians is the right words and minor warlocks, but they took a lot of these people and set up a system of, again, child abuse, child sacrifice, regular human sacrifice, they went to this area and cast all these spells and got the rituals and how to do the rituals, how to do the grooming. They learned from these occultists. And then when they mastered it, they kicked all the occultists away. They're like, fuck y'all, we don't need y'all anymore. So that is why you see some movies like The Matrix and stuff. It's the people, the cultists. It's kind of like the cultists fighting back. Is when you see the Messages movies, they got eyes. I think that's what's called the Rodney Piper movie, or They Live or They See or some shit. When you put the glasses on and you can see the shapers. So that's who it is. So it is the whole industry. But the whole industry, remember, they love Jewish actors. Let's look at what it is. They love Jewish actors. I mean, that's Hollywood from the very beginning, full of just Jewish actors. Saturday Night Live. It is almost where you could call that almost an all-Jewish show. If you look at the number of actors on that show that is Jewish faith. You dig? So that's who does it. That's who does it. They pick children from a young age. They pick children that have some kind of connections. And that's, and it's like they like women seem to break down too. Because remember, like you take somebody like Britney Spears that came from Disney. And you look at how, she went crazy. And that's what it does to a lot of them. I mean, it breaks women down really hard. And, they get the life and everything. It breaks them down really, really hard. So that's who does it. And they have these relationships. And once they put him in, and then he went to his daddy and was like, well, I want to make beats. And he's like, but I don't know how to make beats. And somebody came up with, well, what we'll do is we'll copy words and we'll copy flows from these other people. And throw in some auto-tune. And slowly but surely, you saw Rick Ross put him on his one of his early songs. That had to be around 2007, 2008. So, and you steadily saw them feeding him in. And look who he came under. He came under Lil Wayne and Birdman. So that's all. And, he had a good contract because it looked like he got out his contract with them fairly easy with his bread. Doesn't seem like they cheated him. So, he had people behind him saying, no, we know where these zeros, we gave you your little bit for taking him on, but y'all ain't going to make a whole bunch of money off this guy. This guy going, we getting him out once his name is out there. We don't need y'all, and that's what he did. But it said, I always felt, and he only had a few blacks as tokens. Well, they had Garrett Morrison. It was a whole crew of people from Second City TV, and Second City was a stage production of skits. It was a place where you could watch skits. In Chicago, it was a play, Second City Theater, I think it's called. And the original people all played in Second City. Bill Murray, of course, he was the second generation or second wave of SCNLs. But his brother, I think, was first generation, Brian. Yeah, Bill and Brian. And his brother's in Caddyshack. But I think his brother Brian was the first generation and Bill came. Bellucci and all of them were seconds. They were all, plays. And just like I should show, but they might hit me for, I found SCTV. So you have to look that up for yourself. And that's where I got he blowed up real good. But that shit, all those actors from SCTV, John Candy, the dude from American Pie, Eugene Levy from American Pie, the dude from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I mean, and the mom from Home Alone. She was just in Beetlejuice. The mom from Home Alone that was just in Beetlejuice, the mom in Beetlejuice, or the grandmother in Beetlejuice, she was probably Second City TV. And it's funny. It looks like, if you watch the old ones, it looks like they're nothing like Saturday Night Live. They look like public television like a mug. I mean, the backgrounds, and you could tell it ain't, ain't a lot of bread. They in a garage or something, it seems. It's kind of funny. But, their humor went on, and for almost all the people that was on Second City TV out of Canada, they all started in Chicago, and then they all The ones that went on SC or went on Saturday Night Live, they blew up a lot better. But then again, John Candy became a big star. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. It was 2 or 3 of them movies, and look at what Apple Pie did. And then again, the chick that was just on Beetlejuice. So all these actors you see kind of, it was only 1 or 2 of them that really didn't do a lot. I'd have to point them out to you and tell you what they was on to understand these others. But all of them basically had basic success. So, and I don't know. Well, like the second season when Garrett Morrison went off, they didn't have another brother till Eddie Murphy. Yeah, nobody else was the brother till Eddie Murphy came on. And when Eddie Murphy was on, I think it was just him. I think Eddie Murphy was the only brother that came on when it was Eddie Murphy. Now to think about it, I don't think it was another brother on there. I guess we'd have to look it up, but I think he was the only brother at the time. And he became the second biggest. He became the second biggest on set. Like people don't realize Chevy Chase, he was on a couple episodes and they offered him movies. So Chevy Chase was the first to lead the show, and then I think Bill Murray took his place. And then, when Belushi, died and stuff, he was making movies and stuff. So all these people, pivoted from doing stage a year or so of television, and they went right into movies. Almost all of them went right into movies. So, but it's definitely, as I say, if you look at all the Jewish faith people on there, their head writer is Jewish faith, Colin, whatever his name is, that's married to the actress. They're both Jewish faith. So, that's just what Hollywood was set up. They're the ones I was saying that these wizards taught these Jewish faith people how to keep this going, and actually almost use the whole state as their amplifiers, And now you can look at what's happening now is, like type of cleanse. Now, it could be a money grab created by them to grab those lands, to get people off those lands, which very likely could happen. A lot of people in the insurance situation, it's going to be limited money. And, them cribs was, what they say, Craig said somebody bought a crib for 100-some thousand and now it's worth 1 point something, So all that old money that families passing families that was in California when them houses was built. And they didn't build a highway over your joint because they're good for that. They're good for building highways through especially black neighborhoods, melanated neighborhoods. They're good for that. If you see a neighborhood that's good, as a matter of fact, it was so dirty here where they made the people leave and then Europeans bought the houses and moved the houses. When these brothers abandoned these houses, were forced out of them. They didn't have enough money to take their houses. They just had to take the bread and move. The Europeans picked up these whole houses and put them somewhere else so they could keep them. That's how dirty they could do. But yeah, that's just a part of our country that can't be denied. But I don't know. I do think that there's a fight between the two. There's always been a fight in Hollywood. It seems like they have to tell us, and maybe that's part of universal law. They kind of have to tell some of the things that they're doing, but they don't. It appears like they don't have to directly tell. That's what it appears like. Like they don't have to directly tell what they're doing. They have to give hints, but they have to kind of tell what's being done. It almost seems. That's why, and now, with this information age and all different platforms of this stuff coming out, they can say, hey, we put it out there, and if you didn't find it, you just didn't find it. And that's how they could, get away with this universal law and not breaking it. And so, but I mean, like, what is really I fight with, and I think most people that look at the system, it's like the Muslim brother I'm showing you. This brother like only wear one set of clothes. I don't know if and he talks about modern things, so it ain't like, but when he comes on camera, he got one suit. Now, I don't know. That is like Einstein. They said Einstein only had black and white suits and white shirts and black ties. So, He said he did it because he was autistic too, but he said he did it because, it was no problem figuring out what to wear. Well, maybe so. Maybe so, but still, I want some flavor in what I wear. And what I say, every time I've seen, I've got to be clean. I mean, so. But like our standard of living is really good here in America for most. For most. Now it is sad, like the people that are attacked are vets, that especially real killers, the vets that really killed and they come back and have a conscience about killing, they want to like get rid of them. They want to break them as soon as possible to make sure these people will never attack them. I think I've told the story of my cousin before. My cousin was one of the first black Green Berets, served 2 terms in Vietnam and survived there, but got killed stepping out of his car, shot in the head. They called it justified. All the man did was get out of his car, and the cop was kind of waiting for him and shot him in the head. And so there, and I've said American Sniper, same way. If they didn't fake his death, they killed him because they were afraid of him. Because what if somebody gave him enough bucks to take off people around the world, different leaders, that he could work for someone else? Because remember, a person like that is in the military, you meeting CIA, you meeting Department of Defense people, and there's people working all different sides and angles. And if it's somebody they want to get, they know he can get them, I think America was afraid of that. But he might take money from someone else, not just be on our team. And I mean, that's the country. The country will do that if they're that afraid of you. I mean, Malcolm X, they killed him when he started going to the UN. Started saying, what about, this is where, we need to show we don't have any rights. And it's funny, like they went after South Africa so bad, fight the power and all that, or school days, but nobody went after Israel for what just happened. I mean, the September attacks before Hamas attacked was the same what they've been doing, And Uncle Sam's got his stamp of approval because they're killing them with our bombs, our technology, and then they want everybody to blame Israel and Netanyahu. They want to blame them, and Americans sitting back like, hey, we didn't bomb nobody. Well, if your bombs is bombing people, you did bomb them. You're complicit. The same way it's a proxy. And in Israel, like I read somebody else that said they built, they wanted to be the war in the Middle East because they wanted to have bases over there, but they already had bases. They created the country of Kuwait to build a base. That's why Kuwait was created, so they could build a base there. And Israel was the United States proxy in the Middle East, and that's why they have promoted it, helped with their technology. I mean, people don't realize that the Uzi was what was called a trench gun. That's why the Uzi was invented. So when they were doing that in 1967, they were doing that 67-day war. When they went bust through trenches, they wanted to have an automatic small gun that could sweep people. And that's why the Uzi was invented. Desert Eagle was one of their guns too. But Uzi specifically was their gun. That's why it was invented. And now, they want the United Nations pretty much to fight Russia. That's what they're pushing for. But again, the same money is on both sides. So it's both sides attacking themselves. They play all these games with Russia and stuff, but they still trade. I mean, just recently they cut the oil off from Ukraine, the Russian oil from Ukraine. They cut that off. Don't know what that means. Oh. PJ must not be working tonight. Oh, America first. Okay. I think so too. PJ must not be working tonight. F Ukraine. America first. Okay. Yeah, I think you know, like we look at, like a lot of people saying, what did you do for the people in Tennessee? What did you do for the people in North Carolina? And you talking about taking money somewhere else. PJ must not be working tonight. I can't say I disagree.
F you,
America
first. Okay.
Can't say I disagree. I think, you know, like we look at money should be spent here for the people in Tennessee, time and time again. And what did you do for the people? My wife always tell me that ain't North Carolina works. And you talking about taking money somewhere allocated to go to certain countries. It has to go. I can't say I disagree. So
F you, America first.
Put so much in the budget that goes to help. We look at certain emergencies. Money should be. They put so much money to for the people in Tennessee, time and time again. And what did you do for the people? My wife always tell me that North Carolina works. And you talking about taking money. Once money allocated to go to certain countries, I can't say I disagree. I can't say I disagree. Part of the government.
America first.
Put so much in the budget that goes to help. We look at certain emergencies. My feeling in the military really is so much money to pull for the people in Tennessee, time and time again. What did you do for the people? My wife always tell me that North Carolina. All they should be doing is taking money in America. Money allocated to go to certain countries. I can't say I disagree. Certain countries. Part of the government.
America first.
So much in the budget that goes to help. We look at certain emergencies. My feeling in the military really is so much money to pull for the people in Tennessee, time and time again. What did you do for the people? My wife always tell me that North Carolina. All they should be doing is taking money. There we go. All right, that should that should cut my feedback. Yeah. Stream is forced glitched. I wanted to look at something, so I wanted to see how this was playing, so I had to cut it off. So that's cool. That's funny. But so these are just, you know, some possibilities. You fixed it. Okay, I was messing with something, so that was giving me the overdub sound. So, but I mean, these are realities. It's like, I think we were really close to them bringing the draft back. Now, right now, they automatically sign everybody up to selective service. Used to have to do it. Now they do it automatically. Because I had, my son just turned 22. So when he was 18, it was like, no, you don't need to bring him down here. Send a card, send it back. Or send a card just to say you signed up for it. So, of course, I'm way too old. Even though, I would do something. Maybe I'd be with the general and stand back and go get him. I don't know if I'd be good with that. So, and it's like it's all things. You can't say all the people are wicked, because it's never that. It's never that. I mean, even the occupation of America that we living in, can't say all the occupation is bad, because it's really not. I mean, as occupied people, we've been able to live a fairly good life. Doesn't take the point away from us being occupied, but still, as occupied people, and that's why I put the lady on. It says about, our condition, and we suffering. We don't even understand how we suffer. I mean, check this out. What she's saying. Check this out. What she's saying.
No idea the condition that we're in, the psychoneurosis that we suffer. We suffer terrible, terrible blight. We don't know who we are. We use European names, and we just are comfortable with our condition. We really don't know who we are. We have no idea. We're captive. And we're absolutely comfortable with this situation.
Now, if you look at, and a lot of people could say, like, look at what happened to the Panthers and other groups when we weren't comfortable with it, that we got attacked. And I mean, even going back, to all the riots, I've broken down why we had the riots in 1919. We had the riots to kill soldiers, to kill the soldiers that was used to killing Europeans. That's what they did in 1919. That's why we had all the riots then. But then if you go, past you look at the riots in South Carolina to take over the political power there. We look at Wilmington to take the political power over there. And this is the part that they use. You read about Wilmington. What they do is they use the poor white trash. They use them to rile them up and make them do the violence. And soon as the violence is achieved, they bring in just the army to get rid of the poor white trash too. The poor white trash's situation in life never improves. They just do the killing for them. But their lives didn't really improve. They were still the poorer class. It didn't help them come up in class by killing blacks. And then I've said this also before. Again, we see the same attack 1945. We see, we start seeing really when black soldiers started coming back in 43, 44, but the big riot was 45 or 46. And again, trying to kill soldiers that was used to killing them, used to killing Europeans. They were scared to death of them. So that's why World War I, they kill them. There were southern towns that if you came in your uniform, they would kill you. You'd come right off the train and they would kill you. Because they don't want to see any pride that a black man could fight in a war. They didn't want to see that. They didn't want their weak, feeble-minded people to know that black folks could fight and be proud and wear the uniform. No, they wanted to keep the people ignorant. They want to have the people have any ideas of who they are and what they are and the possibilities. Everybody given, the same equal playing field. And that's the problem. It's like they always want to change the goalpost. I don't agree with her saying we don't know who we are. Well, again, keep in context. This is from the 60s. She said that in the 60s. She said that in the 60s. So keep that in context when she said it. She said this is something I picked up from the 60s. No, I don't. Oh, OTF, thank you for joining. I don't think I welcomed you.
You can't get too close to Michael, it's a foul.
Yeah, but how long has that existed? That movement is just fairly new. That's Tariq's thing from the last 4 or 5 years? So that ain't been nothing we've known. I mean, really, like on Facebook has been the biggest sharing of people looking up their tribes and where the people came from. I think Facebook has helped more than anything with that, with people and communities coming together and finding who they are. And then getting through the lies, like the Africa stuff started in England. It was a dude in the 1800s that was like, we need to tell these people something so they have no tie to the land. And we can't tell them that Columbus took the first slaves from Haiti to England. We don't want to tell that story. We don't want to tell that that's how the slave trade that they say happened started with them taking slaves out of here. And then once they knew the coast of America, they was always snatching people. They would go on land with a small force and try to snatch some women and children and take them back to Europe. That's how the slave trade. And then the other part is once they emptied the island and killing and working people to death and slaving them out, they started taking people from especially North Carolina and started filling Jamaica. So they was taking people from the Americas and taking them to the islands. One of my relatives went to Tobago. He was, he won a large land because his family members died. And next thing you know, he gets kidnapped and taken to Tobago for 8 years. And what was the movie called where the dude was up north and he snatched him? It was a book too, when they snatched him from the north and took him to the south. So if you that movie told a very important part about the history. If you snatching people from the north to slave them in the south, why is that? How often have you been doing that? So that was always going on. I agree, but it's not a moment. It's not a movement. It's our lineage. I'm talking about the FBA movement, talking about Black Americans. Okay. Okay, if it's a movement, okay, I'm not against it. I've got some doubts about Tariq. I see a lot of scam in him, but we'll see how this plays out. We'll see how this plays out. I really don't have any negative to say about it. I see that I think in the West Coast it's more prominent than the rest of the country. I think it's a lot more prominent in the West than it is anywhere else for some reason. You know, the cat's in California. Well, that's where Tariq is. He's in California. And I think people kind of Portuguese first, right? The Portuguese coming over or the Portuguese starting to slave people? Because one thing about they came before Columbus, that Van Sertima talks about the Portuguese knowing this it's in America. And remember, we know from Columbus's logs that he talks about seeing a ship, a European-style ship out of Antilles, I think it's called, that he saw American ship that had made it that far where they was, they was going. So yeah, the Portuguese had a part in. The Portuguese could have been going back and forth. And we know, the other part of it is we know the Americans went everywhere. I mean, the Americans, the Mayans, they want to tie the Mayans in. But even the Olmec. The Olmec went all the way around California, went all up and down the coast, all through up to the Mississippi. They knew about all this stuff. And so they knew about Europe as well. And look at all the pyramids. The earliest pyramids come from America. So how do you think they got that? And as I said before, this is a case of where you didn't give all your technology away, because the pyramids everywhere else don't have the terraces on them. That makes ours more unique. So, yes, I am in California, but we are really deep in the South. California is barely any. We are 7% Cali, so South in the homeland. Oh, okay. Like I said, I don't have really anything negative to say about that. Can't say I agree or disagree. It's like my boy Cheeto Paul. He's always, him and Turtle Gang, they're all the same way. They're always arguing with people about who they are. Why are you still arguing? This is like 10 years of arguing it. I don't have to argue with anybody who my family is. I mean, the ancestors definitely told me who they are, and all this love I get from my ancestors. So I don't really like arguing about this stuff. Is no big deal to me. I don't have anything to argue about because I know who I am and I know who my people are. So there's nothing to argue about it. I don't have to prove anything. That's the thing. I'm part of that 144,000 that it took to make me. Each one of them kind of touch me in one way or another, just like, hey, send that energy. So I don't have to argue any of that. And I know, Cheeto, and he's on a channel, and that's what they do. They have to, one cat, I might get his book, and his book will probably be pretty good. I've got to look on Amazon and buy this cat's book I'm friends with, and I'm in a group with him. He talks about, they're Yamasi, but he breaks it down to some early Mississippian stuff, and he appears to be a pretty thorough young. I can't say he's young, but he appears to be in his 30s. But pretty thorough information of what he's passed on. So I got to get his book. I think he wrote 2 books that might be worth getting. I'll pass that on to y'all once I get them. So because the information looks solid, and I hope y'all read. Hope everybody reads. I mean, Facebook is good to read. It's a lot of, not just looking pictures, there's a lot of things you could read too, but that's something I force myself when I get up every morning. I force myself to read. And I probably got 20 books I need to read. So I'm working on 2. I've read half of probably 6 or 7, but I'm going to knock 2 out right quick. And one of them was damn near 1,000-page book, and it's a book of kind of philosophy, poetry like. So it's a harder read because just the subject is so slow, but good stuff, good points of information. So do you think Babe? Yeah, it appears like Babe Ruth was a brother. And one reason I came across why they wouldn't let him coach, and that's, again, he made a mistake in his contract. His contract should have made them let him coach. If he would have been smart and had some foresight, he'd have put in one of them contracts, not just to get the bread, but when I retire, I get this. Because, they traded him. They traded him, what is it, Boston. They traded him back to Boston. And maybe he wanted to retire in Boston anyway, but they traded him to the what was later the Milwaukee Braves and then the Atlanta Braves, but the Boston Braves. He finished his career with the Boston Braves. He hit his last home run playing with the Boston Braves. And they took him out pretty quick. He only lived to be 48 years old. But I've got a picture of him. I got to find it because I know it's on Pinterest. But this brother is super, super, super tan. Let's see. I don't know if it'd be that easy to find, but let's see if I can find it. But I mean, he is, straight up a brother. And it's not any Photoshop or anything. It is just a straight picture. And it's him at spring practice, but you got to see this if I can find it. I don't know. Let me see where it would be. I might just one day have to look at it. Where did I put all my sports stuff? Or maybe in Sunny. I don't know. No, here's my stuff. Okay. How do I get more of my stuff? Nah, this ain't my stuff. Oh, well, let's just look it up. Okay, let's just look this dude up. I'm tripping. I'm trying to do it hard. Let's just look it up. And we'll start seeing these pictures. We'll look this up and start looking at his pictures. I want to see pictures. No. Oh, no, I want it on Pinterest because they'll give me more pictures. Yeah. Here we go. All right, let's start looking at pictures. Now, Ty Cobb said he wouldn't room with him because he said he never spent the night with a nigga and never would. Look how dark his face is here. Look at his face. Look at his hands. All right. Look at here. Look how tan he is here. Look at his features, though. You almost say he looks like an Olmec. Look at his features, though. This is when he was young. Look at him when he's young. Looks like a brother. Look like somebody just passing. Look how they colorized this. Now, this is colorized. But look how much they colorized this of how they said he looked. Look at this. Now, does this look like a European dude? Look at this picture. Look how much they colorized it to how it compensated to how he probably looked. And as I said, Ty Cobb was the one that straight up called him a nigga all the time. Said he wouldn't room with him. They went somewhere and he's like, I ain't never room with a nigga and I never will. Another picture's when he's younger. Just look at his features. Fuller lips. Look at his nose. Almost looks like an Olmec. Now see, look how they over-reddened him. Look like they even put lipstick on him. Why are they putting lipstick on him? Because they didn't want his lips to show. See? This is when he's kind of going down. But even here, it looks like a dude who's passing. And that's, that like they had movie stars. Now, even look at this picture of him older. I don't think this is a wig. Look at his hair. He only 48 years old. And look how bad a shape he's in. He's 48, y'all. In this picture, he is 48. But physically, he died of cancer. But look what they did to him. Look at his hair. Look how full his hair still is almost 50. Even here, you can just see how he tanned so much on his face. I got the best one, but I gotta go through it and find it. I got one that, man, he looks super dark. He looks dark as this. I got a picture where he looks dark like that. But you see the difference between how they made him look. Whoops. How they make him look here. Like it looked like it's an effort to kind of put some more red. That's not natural red. See? Compared to this. And you can't say that's shadowing. You can't say that's shadowing. His face is like that because he got shadowed. You can't say that. This is what the computer naturally put in there. Even here. See, Ty Cobb didn't like him. And he said Ty Cobb was an asshole. Ty Cobb did not like him. And he did not like Ty Cobb. But I got a picture from him for spring training. This is a painting over a picture. This picture was a picture, but they painted over it. Yeah, I can't find that one I have. See, he finished with Boston, with the Boston Braves, playing first base. And you can see what kind of shape he's in. You know, he ain't got fat and lazy and rich. But you see how clean he is. Look how clean he is. Shoes shine, Big Apple hat on, got the fur collar. This looks like cashmere. So, you know, he got a little flavor in him. And okay, look here. Look how dark his arms are. Look how dark his arms are, and look at his face. Now, I don't know how old he is here. He looks like he's probably retired, but look how much he's, you know, and you can say he's tan, but they don't tan like this. And no disrespect to anybody. Oh, do I think we look different than the continental Africans? Yeah, considerably different. Yeah, considerably different. Yeah, considerably different. We look considerably different than Africans. I mean, here we have the biggest population of Somalians, and you know, Americans don't look like them. They're you know, what you got to keep in mind is a lot of African is tribal. Like it's Africans here that don't like other Africans. That's what. There's no unified Africa or unified Africans. They come to America and still hate each other. I know this firsthand. It's a bunch of motherfuckers that don't like these Somalians here, and Somalians don't like different tribes here. They don't fuck with each other. I mean, when they get these Catholic churches, it don't be more than one tribe that goes to that church. It be the same tribe that go to that church. And there's a bunch of them around here. So they don't, so to say we look like them, like you can't, if I showed you Somalian, there's no one in America that looks like Somalian. So we don't really look like them. Thousands of tribes, yeah. Yeah, I'm telling you, they shoot at each other, they fight each other all the time. They really don't fuck with each other. I mean, on a big scale, these different tribes do not fuck with each other. That's why I'm surprised, you know, so many of them, because they gave Umar a spot. Keith Ellison had it first, whereas most of Africans, you know, when they bring people here, they know, they learn from where they put the niggas. We put the niggas on the north side, easier to watch you. So when they put these groups together, they put them all in certain areas, you know, especially the poor ones. They all in the similar areas. They did the same to the Vietnamese this year. Because we got a bunch of, I was joking with my son when I was driving him off work. I was like, man, I feel like I'm in Vietnam again. But there's a lot of Vietnamese work where he works. It's just joking. No pun to anybody. It's just joking, guys. So, but yeah, it's so, no, it's like I've only really, like Somalian women, I've only seen a handful of them that are really beautiful. When I first got here, I saw a really beautiful Somalian woman that didn't look, I mean, they all really look like the same tribe, if you understand. That's who they brought here. They were killing, when the president got blowed up, and like you watch Black Hawk Down, but when the president got killed and they started going at each other, in Bangladesh, the African Union, if I'm right, won, if I remember right. And they started murking all this tribe of Somalians. They were starving them to death. That's what Black Hawk Down is about. They were starving these Somalians to death, and they was fighting over just even giving them food. The Red Cross would try to give them food, and these pirates would take the food and wouldn't, and that was their way of the people that fought for the United States. That was their way of getting back at them, was starving them to death. So America started bringing them over here because they was killing them, like the Houthis and the Tutsis. You understand? They killed hundreds of thousands of their own countrymen. But because they was a different tribe, and then the history has to do with the lighter skins was more aligned, I think, with the French or Belgian. And once the French or Belgian pulled out, the darker skin took it out on the lighter skin. It's pretty much what you see. I mean, Hotel Rwanda, that's pretty much what you see. Is one side was kind of helping the Belgians and was favored, and then the darker people were unfavored by the occupiers. So when it came to it, and their president got blowed up in the plane, then they blamed it on the light skins, and that's what that was about. They claimed they killed 200 some thousand. And you can look at the man who bought all the axes. Like, again, nobody had guns, and one man brings in like 500,000 axes and hatchets, and then they hand them out. They have a logistics system where they handed them out to just the dark skins. Nobody got guns over there. And matter of fact, not a large amount of people had axes and swords. So they were, that's where, that's why they want to take your guns, because they can't do that if you got guns. A couple of them are going to get killed. Even though they might swarm you, a couple of them are going to get killed. That's just the odds. So that's why they don't want people to have guns. And that's why they create these false flags. And I ain't got to call them by name, but y'all know what these false flags are. That's what they got them for. What does it seem like? American blacks are better at sports than Africans, with the exception of soccer and long distance. Feels like when they aren't malnourished, they're better athletes. Well, like the reason we're better in ball sports is because we're part of the thing that created the ball sports. The Olmec or Omen is the correct name to call them. That's what the region is called. It's not called Olmec, it's called Omen. But, you go with what's the popular name, commercial name. Like my thing up there says Omeka Kabaza, big head, Olmec. But the correct word is Omen. But they created the ball game. They created rubber, and they created the sacred ball game. And that was something I wanted to talk about tonight. Yeah, dang, I wanted to show this. Let's see. Let's see if I can bring that back up. Did that go somewhere? Here we go. I don't know if I can. Let's see if I can find this. I think this is it. Let's see what it'll give me. Let me see if it'll give me what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the creation stories. Oh, this is helpful too. A lot of y'all might not be hip to this. Right here, this is the cross of Quetzalcoatl. Right here, this is a picture of who Quetzalcoatl is, and this is what they call the cross of Quetzalcoatl. Oh my God. So if you ever hear of the cross of Quetzalcoatl, this is it. And then this is the rain god, kind of looking upside down. This is the rain god here, but this is not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something else. They're not giving me the creation pages. That's what I need. And they're not showing me the creation pages. This is one of them, but where's the rest of it? They cut out the rest of it. Yeah, they're not giving me. It's this page, but yeah, it's this page, but they didn't give the whole page. Because what I want to show you is in their creation, the ball game is in their creation. Now here's another page. No, this is the same page. They're not giving me that. Let me see this one. Nope. Are they giving me the pages? They are not. And that was something I wanted to talk about this, and I'm glad it came up. Oh, okay. Here's a better picture of the cross or Quasi-Quoto. This is another one. A newer version of the cross of Quasi-Quoto right here. Ooh. Indeed, the sacred ball game. It was several games that was played. And I've broken this down before, but like going from just simply having extra rubber that kind of got air in it and throwing at each other, you know, dodging from actually throwing it back and forth to each other, to one day having a basket and catch it in a basket, to one day throw it up in a tree and come down, or throw it to the side of a building and come down. Now they had the game where you pretty much had to hit it with your hips or your knees. But they also had a game where the hoop was like it is today, and you could just throw it up there too. You don't see them hoops, but they had that game as well. And I said before, some of the sacred ball fields is, they were grief ball fields. I'm saying that ball fields one of the best places to get rid of grief, because the energy is always moving on a ball field; it never goes away. That's why they want locked up in a stadium, because they don't want you sharing that energy. But, they can't help it when you go to the little, fields, baseball fields like that. And so it was a bunch of different type of games. Like I got a book of just the games of the Americas. And from, rolling a ball, rolling a little wheel, throwing arrows at it. I mean, it's a bunch of different games. Again, the stick games. The idea of the bowls come from America. You go out to or look up Arizona bowls. That's where the original bowls playing the sacred ball game in the bowls comes from. That's where the football to put at the bowls. I mean, field hockey, from field hockey to lacrosse. Lacrosse, like you can find places where they played lacrosse. You guys played Tackle-Lena or Smear the Queer, that game where it's just one football, whoever gets it runs and everybody else tackles them. They had a version of lacrosse, might be 200-300 mugs like that. They just out there going at it. So, I mean, it was always it was always using the balls and then finding other ways to use the balls. So, I mean, just imagine how old a game like dodgeball. Just, you got this bladder full of air and you just try to throw it at somebody. They said that when Columbus was on the island, he saw a little boy just bouncing the ball, dribbling it. And he was amazed because Columbus called it a magic ball, because the Europeans didn't have had rubber. They didn't have rubber. But he's just amazed. This little boy is dribbling a ball in front of him. That's what he puts in his own works. Their debate on whether the winner of the game would be sacrificed. I guess if you have to look at it, what sense would that make? What sense would that make? That you sacrifice the loser of a game? It's the same thing as with the gladiators. The gladiators make you think, the loser just always got killed. But if you look back, it was like wrestling. They gave you a good fight, but they rarely killed each other. And that's the same thing. Like, who would want to play? Who would really want to play? Now, the sacrifice came from, when the hero twins fought, when they fought the gods. That's, his daddy tried to fight the gods and his daddy got killed. He lost, and that was his ass for losing to fighting the gods. But for normal people, my research don't find that. My research doesn't find that. And again, the closest civilization we have to us is actually the Aztec, because the Mayan, small amounts of them, but most of them dispersed around the country. They didn't stay in those areas. And, they were so old. It was such an old civilization that the civilization, moved on and moved to other places where it was, the land was more predictable and everything, and they ain't got to fight and so that happened. Like if you really look at the Olmec were like on Belize and all them countries. But if you look at where the Mayan was, they in the Yucatan in the central part of the country. And then if you look at where the Aztec, they in the Toltecs, they more in the northern part of Mexico. So it's like they all moved, they all moved. And what's called the Aztec, those people wasn't even in power like 150 years at the most. His daddy and him. And they got put out of power fairly quick because people didn't like them. They had made all these enemies because they were mercenaries that came in. And they were mercenaries working for other people. And then when they was able to make their move and off somebody, to put themselves in power, that's why people didn't like them. That's why, all the tribes that fought them, that's one of the reasons why they fought them, because they didn't like the motherfuckers. They didn't like how they was. And the sacrifice is overblown. It's way overblown. Again, all the people that the Europeans had to kill, that's a good story when they find these mass bodies. That's a good story when you find mass bodies to say, hey, they was killing each other, so we had to kill them. And that's what they said for a long time, that they had to get rid of the Aztecs because they were sacrificing people. Well, not to say that it was never done, but a lot of times when they were sacrificing was the enemies. They was killing their state enemies, which is not uncommon that you don't give them quarter. Yeah, I do not find what I was looking for. Let me see. Let me see if I can grab a book. Give me a second. Hope I didn't show my ass. Don't say ass, say rectum. But like how ingrained. Yeah, it's this row of stories. Okay, must go this way. Okay. Here's one. Now, this is a creation story. This is a Mayan. And, okay, what you see here, what did it adjust? That is really the real shape of a ball field. The real shape of a ball field is like an eye. And the ball field is, this is Quasimodo going into the sacred ball field. I think I'd have to remember, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But this is part of their creation story, is the ball field. Again, we see one of the gods going to the ball field. See? Anytime you see these eyes, that's the ball field. Here we are again. Two gods going into the ball field. So it's always been a part of their lore. It's always, the ball, they knew about the ball because, that they got it from, they know the people they got the balls from. And they got balls thousands of years old. I got a book over there. I think it's a ball 3,000 years old. They have a bunch of the old balls. Somalian group gangs. Oh, yeah. They're all over. So there's a debate on, yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, who would want to keep doing it? Who would want to keep playing any game where you're going to get killed? Both people be trying to cheat to not get killed. So that's, yeah. Like they say, they lined up the heads in Belize. Again, his story. So, yeah, it's very debatable that they killed somebody. Now, again, when you study Aztec culture, the Aztecs, they didn't have the banded heads. So they were a whole different people. The Aztecs and the Mayans weren't the same people. Or the Olmec would be closer to the Mayans, and actually was more Mayan. And even if you get into the Mixtecs or the Toltecs, they were more of a common people that all bound their heads than the Aztecs. The Aztecs probably started in America and then went down to those lands. Probably was in some dry lands like New Mexico, Arizona, parts of Texas, and they went down south. And then they, their civilization didn't last very long once they became in charge. Their own greed and mistreating people is what made, and that's the story they tell, is that all these other tribes wanted to, avenge them, not realizing that they were helping them avenge themselves. Oh, I haven't, like I mentioned, I haven't bought any shoes today. I looked at the black cats and I was like, nah. And they didn't have them on my size, but you could still get them. They had a 12, I think. And yeah, I haven't bought any. I haven't bought any lately. There is one pair I'm kind of, do I want the football color ones or basketball color ones, or do I want to spend more money to get the powder blues? And I love powder blue, especially powder blue shoes. So I don't know, I'm stuck between the two. It's like, if I save my money, I can get the other pair too. But I bought too many shoes in 24. I definitely did. I bought way too many shoes. So I'm kind of cutting back. I'm barely wearing my boots. Like, I've got that pair in the box. I've got my Uggs that the weather, like my Uggs is, Ugg snow boot. And that pair right there is like a ski boot, they call them. My Red Wings. You see, they still in the box. Now I got my Dark Martens downstairs. A little bit of snow we wore, I wore them around. I wore my leather Nike boots, Ghost Sheds or whatever they're called. I wore them today. So the white ones. Because I just don't like getting my tennis shoes wet and shit on them. Because, when you walk through slops, sometimes it's shit all going. I treat my shoes better, So, no, I hadn't bought it. My wife bought me this shirt. She bought me this shirt today. So, I think it was like 160, 170. And I think they had it on sale for 60 or something like that. And then we got a Macy's closing. So, I'm going to go grab me some suits over there. Maybe get us a bunch of sheets and stuff. But our Macy's is closing. Which it's Mall of America is only 20 minutes from me, if that. Yeah, about 20 minutes. So if I want to go to Macy's, it's Macy's still all around here. Yeah, but I haven't bought any yet. Let's see. So I don't know. Like, I don't. All right. So I saw these today. I think this is the grade school version. I don't know if this colorway, but they don't really turn me on. I think these are court shoes. I don't know. My Jordans are such good court shoes. The mids, if you like mids, and this is I think a running shoe. So I don't know. This is coming out what I think I showed. Yeah, the golden ticket. So I don't know. I like 5s, but I don't know. Don't really care for these. What colors they got here? What ours is this? These Jordan ones? Yeah, these are Jordans. I'm not buying these. The quality of this Air unit sucks. I'll never buy another pair of them. Is this a suede pair? These Dunks? No, these are Air Jordans, aren't they? Yeah, these really don't look good in person. They're really kind of an ugly shoe. These are kind of cool. That's kind of cool. These are cool. They're kind of cool. Kind of a Jordan playoff. These are probably sold out. I kind of like these Fight Clubs. I kind of like these. I mean, the material is outstanding, almost all of them. Do you think at one point in your history, our skin had a green hue to it? Huh. That would kind of, if you find, if you know who Phil Valentine is, that's kind of like the speech he gave of the different hues of people was interesting. How he was saying that there were greener people, and then there were bluer people and yellow people. And I don't mean like yellow Chinese, just the hues was totally vivid colors of each one of these groups. And he was saying all these groups fed from the sun. So if you can catch his very first video of him, and then this is going back, man, probably 20 years or longer. Like this is on early YouTube if you can catch it. And that was the first time I saw him. But he was saying the same thing. And that goes into like when you see the Brahmins, some of them Pakistanians, if you see that type of pure melanin does tend to have a little bit of green hue. And then if you look at people that just ate, a vegetarian diet, I think you can see the same thing in their hue, especially if they're, really, really dark folks. So melanin is like, there's just some melanin books that are so expensive that it doesn't even make any sense. The books are so expensive on melanin. It's like they don't want you to learn that stuff. The melanin is universal. I get so devastated. Where are we going here? What's this? Oh, these look like little children, women's shoes. So melanin is interesting. I mean, they sell melanin like they talk about these other stuff. They sell melanin. You can buy melanin on the market, dark web. They sell it. And they want to tell you what's that one drug they tell you they want to, everybody wants amber chrome or some shit like that. They want melanin too. Why do you think they tan? And melanin pops different. Like I was showing with Babe Ruth, melanin pops different. Like when melanin people tan, they tan different. Like, you saying the green hue, you've ever heard of, they say, sometimes the brothers be blue-black too. It'd be a shade of blue. And that goes back into Dr. Valentine's teaching, because you see some black folks be like a shade of blue. The melanin in them is so pure. Well, guys, I think that's all I got. What time is it? Oh, my son, he ain't here yet. I don't think. He's off work, though. I ain't heard him. So maybe this girl picked him up. He didn't call me or I didn't see it. Oh, here we go. I don't think he called me. Oh, shit, maybe he did. Oh, he had broke his arm, so he just sent me that he lifted 185. So I guess I don't know if he's still at work or, because it's late now. He's been off for almost an hour, about to be an hour. So, yeah, thank you. But yeah, study of melanin is deep. Look on eBay or where you look books up. The melanin books is expensive, and melanin is something that's found universal. It's something that they found materials from. I don't know if asteroids, but melanin tends to be like a universal kind of chemical. I've seen that in person. The fact that dude's nickname was Blue. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but I mean, you see both. You see black folks that does have a greenish hue, and you see black folks that have kind of a green hue too. So, but again, when I tell the story of Dr. Valentine and Wes Paneri's work, because Wes Paneri he switches it and says people were different blurs. So not really humanoid, but blurs. So the blue blurs stayed together, the green blurs stayed together. So he found a way to use Dr. Valentine's work, but he changed it. And he says when the Anunnaki came, they learned a way to trap the blurs. That's Wes Paneri's take on it. So, but it's Dr. Valentine's story too. So, but yeah, I think that's all I had tonight. So, those are my picks. My only upset is the Ravens. I'll be back Sunday night after the games to break down what we saw And as these playoffs go, we'll start seeing more and more celebrity deaths. That's what, every time. That's what they do. And again, my channel, Super Bowl weekend, I'm going to probably be on every day for those 2 weeks to show you so we can count them. And we'll put a book on the amount of people they knock off during the Super Bowl. Because every Super Bowl, and see, this is the mocking. It's like, studio people and Hollywood famous singers, actors, ex-sports people, they die every day. Yeah, that's true. People die every day. But it seems like more people die in a 2-week period, more entertainers die in a 2-week period, or playoffs, World Series, championships. They seem like entertainers start to die more during those times of years. And I said one 2-week period, it was almost a famous person a day. And it was 20, I think 24 to 26 people I think they killed. And they killed somebody that night. A basketball player and his wife got killed in a car accident, like after the Super Bowl. But it's still the time of the Super Bowl, so you had to count it. So I think it averaged almost a couple people a day, a couple entertainers a day. NBA Finals is the same thing. The hockey finals, they always, during some type of championship, they always have a ritual for the people. And that's where the gematria people come in. The gematria people break it down even better than I do. Zach and his group. They break it down even because they've been following this. I've been rocking with Zach since summer of 16. I've almost, been rocking with Zach. So, I give them all the credence to that kind of thing because, I think as Zach was cooking, we was all starting to see it. Starting to see how they often these people during these events and leading up to these events, It's like I was showing earlier when I started the show, they bringing Ali back, got his wife on TV for something. And it's like they want that energy for some reason. I see a picture of his wife, then I see an article and, they want to start bringing that energy in again. So, all right, well, I think I'm going to go. So look for me Sunday around midnight-ish. After the games, Sunday around midnight-ish. I try to come do it as close to midnight as I can. So